But we have, what went wrong here? We divided by 0. We divided both sides by a minus b. And remember what a is? 9, and b is 9. So we divided by 9 minus 9, which is 0. And that causes things to break, like this house. And I want our calculators to do that instead of saying error. Can you do that? I want it to just. And then it's another image, like. So what I did, I'm gonna waste some more of your time. I wanted some pictures, so I Googled 0 divided by 0 means. And I spent way too much time doing that. It just, so you can do that this weekend. All right. This one's true though. Well, it's all true. There was this ship, pretty big ship, that broke down in 1997 for a couple of hours because a human entered 0 into a column, and it forced the computer to divide by 0. And this huge warship was just stranded off the coast of Virginia for over 2 hours.
Y2K did that.
Just a couple of years earlier, right? That's frightening. That's what we always, like, teachers always say, don't you divide by 0. Now we have something to point to. Right. Okay. So there's still remnants of our dislike of 0, real type. You guys notice where 0 is located? At the wrong end. Right? So 0 comes first. And but if you have a good keyboard and you're actually using math, the 0 is appropriately located, and it's big for your thumb. So when we're using it, we care. If we're just typing it, whatever, it's just a symbol. And then our precious phones screwed it up too, because 0's at the end. And this next picture might be the scariest. Sure, you got it right. I was kind of hoping it got it wrong. And there's too much more to talk about, so I had to cut myself off. But I'm available afterwards.
Okay, finishing up with the really crazy stuff. So this is a picture of the Hindu god, Brahman. Like with the Trinity in Judaism, where we have God, but then we'll break that, Christianity, a God, but then we'll say God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is Brahman. So Brahman is Brahman, Shiva, and Vishnu. And this is a representative of all on the lotus flower here in this one particular case. Sometimes they're on their own, right? But this is emblematic of the life cycle, right? So Brahman, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, the god of love, the god of preservation, right? And then Shiva, the destroyer. So life emerges into the world, is sustained, and is here for a time, and then decays and goes back into the void, right? So we have in the manifestation here, all with their 0 helmets, right? Just like with the Christian deities and the saints. The depiction of the Hindu deity, Brahman overall, but broken into the 3 elements. 3 or 1, all are 3. Again, none of my yellow came out, which is weird because my original slide backgrounds were blue. It all worked out at home, you guys, I promise. All right, here's another depiction of that deity with its 3 heads, right? But we can't see around the other side, unfortunately, right? And then here's one where they're all on their own lotus flower. Anyone notice anything interesting about the 3-headed god? It's got 4 heads. Right? So why does the 3-headed god have 4 heads? Yeah, well, if it's 3-headed, 1, 2, 3, 4. Possibly. Or 0, 1, 2, 3. If you add 0 to the equation, then to get a 3-headed god, you need 4 heads. right? And that's what's going on here, right? In the Hindu system, they start to account for this into their symbology in ways that really, really matter. And it gives them the ability to open up a whole set of possibilities for their religion in terms of how people can pursue the infinite. They integrate it into the iconography much more even than in Judaism. But like with math, there's problems that come with that, right? I have a handout for you that I'm going to send around. Now, and this is the creation hymn in the Rig Veda, and I'm just going to read it quickly. This is the creation story in the very first part of the Hindu Bible, right? So this is similar to what's in, like I said, the book of Genesis. There was neither non-existence nor existence then. There was neither the realm of space nor the sky which is beyond. What stirred, where, whose protection? Was there water bottomlessly deep? There was neither death nor immortality then. There was no distinguishing sign of night nor of day. That one breathed wilderness by its own impulses. Other than that, there was nothing beyond. Darkness was hidden by darkness in the beginning, of no distinguishing sign. All this was water, the life force that was covered with emptiness, that one arose to the power of heat. Desire came upon that one in the beginning. That was the first seed of mind. The poet seeking the heart. Wisdom found the bond of existence in non-existence. Their cord was extended across. Was there below? Was there above? There were seed places. There was powers. There was impulse. There was giving forth above. Who really knows? Who here will proclaim it? Whence was it produced? Whence is this creation? Gods came afterwards. And so when we're talking about this one, who is the sort of manifestation of this void, whose impulse all of this emerges from, right? The gods that we were just talking about come second, right? There's this bottomless, immortal, deep, right? That is the seed of everything, and it's by its impulse, everything else emerges, right? When did this creation arise? Maybe it formed itself, maybe it didn't. That one who looks down on it in the highest heaven, only he knows, or perhaps he does not know. Right? Because the difference between knowing and not knowing is still a binary, which still puts us into the world of opposites, which still puts us into the world of creating things. This is the earliest, just a couple more slides for you from my perspective. This is one of the earliest images we have from the Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro civilizations, which were 2000 to 1200 or so BC, which were the civilizations that sort of modern-day Hinduism emerged out of after their interactions with European tribes that moved into the steppes of Russia. But this is a god that's attributed to the god Shiva, right? And this is Shiva's dance. Shiva's dancing, always holding some of the fire of illumination that illuminates the outside of this circle again, another zero. Dancing with his sash into the wind, swinging the drum, which is the drum beat, the heartbeat of the moving cosmos. 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot up to imitate this notion of, again, being partially grounded on the earth, but also looking to the heavens. And the focus of the religion, the focus of practicing yoga in Hinduism is to enter into a path of personal and spiritual transformation that brings one closer, right? That where you're killing off the things that keep you from manifesting this divine nature within yourself. And so this burning light of illumination on the outside. But the question is what's behind, what's on the inside of this circle? Joseph Campbell would always say that these symbols emerge from the subconscious and they emerge fully formed. And so Shiva emerges from the inside of this circle, right? And so what's back there behind this guy is what I still want to know about, right? Where did this emerge from? Someone just sit down and go, let's make a guy with 4 arms and he's dancing, right? Like this emerged into the hearts and minds of people from somewhere, right? And so what is that emergence? And that void, that creative potential is where I want to land. Mother Zero. This is Kali. And in my understanding of this religion, this is the best sort of personified religious symbol that manifests the void, right? If we want to go to religion and say, is there a symbol anywhere in the world that is a religious symbol that is the symbol of zero in religion? This is it. And Kali has the 9 heads, and if you count these, there's 10. There's many, many depictions You'll always see her with her tongue sticking out. And you usually see her doing one of these. 9 arms over here, which is of course 10. 3 arms over here, which is of course 4. I gotta count to 0. Who is she standing on? Anyone know? It's a Shiva. Yeah. Holding the head of the great god, Rama, and the skulls as well. So when I practice Hinduism, I'm supposed to be following Shiva, right? Being yoked to yoga, right? Yoked to a tradition of personal transformation, whether I'm practicing jhana yoga or raja yoga or karma, one of the major paths. And in this is bringing me forth into Rama consciousness. This is transforming me, right, from the private self into my connection to the larger universal self. I'm in this path of personal transformation. And then suddenly I show up, and this deity that I've been following, that I've been trying to get closer to, here's this lady sticking her tongue out me, and she's standing on his corpse, holding the decapitated head of the other guy I was trying to get to, through following this guy. This is problematic. This broke the religion. Right? So here's that void we were looking at, that void in the beginning. What happens, oh wait, back up. What happens when we have the universe minus itself? We're left staring into the eyes of this watery, dark, feminine abyss from which all things emerged, into which they return. But that's still a thing. That's still really not nothing, right? Even if we say Kali or the void, if we name the void a thing, we're back to the Jewish problem. Is it a thing that's a thing, or is it a no thing that's a thing, or is it a no thing that's not a thing? Right? So is Kali a no thing, or a thing that's a no thing? Right? And she's killed Shiva, she's killed Brahman, we're left with her, the universe minus itself, but what are we left with? If we're still left with a thing, then we're not really at the void yet. We still have a thing, the void. So we have to minus the void too. Kali has to cut her own head off. Wow. You're getting this from 0. This is one of the most sacred images in all of Hinduism, because now you're getting close to the void. When the void kills itself, when the void goes into the void, then what are you left with? Big void. Right? Forever and ever. Right? Shiva was one of his consorts here, the twins here, the division between man and woman, God and human, difference and sameness, all of these things now don't matter. Darkness was darkness, but then there was no distinguishing feature, no distinguishing sign. The handout I gave you says. This is the manifestation of the return to that. And again, Trinitarian, if you notice, in the streams of blood. In Hinduism, this is connecting us to the dual concepts of the void and infinity. And from the Bhagavad Gita, entering into the void springs one out the other side into new life. And so this transformation is a transformation of reincarnation. And I think we drastically misunderstand reincarnation here in the West. The notion is simply this, that these forms are emerging out of the abyss all around us all the time, and they exist for a while and then melt back into it and then reemerge back out of it. And we participate in this process, and we have no freaking idea how it works, right? And we have all kinds of theories about it and all kinds of ideas and all kinds of hopes and terrors, and yet here we are stepping into and out of this infinite black abyss on either side, right? That extends in either direction through time and through space and through the very recesses of ourselves in our subconscious mind. I'll close with this because I would be remiss as a professor of cultural studies, that I believe, at least, and take this for what it's worth, and get this extra, this wasn't part of the original presentation, that we live in a culture that has become very unaccustomed to confronting the shadow, to confronting the void. And so we have a culture of people that are often very afraid and very angry and fill their lives with things that try to minimize that fear and anger, whether that be addictions or video games or television. And then we have manifestations of that abundant fear and anger that I think emerge from us not being a people that have many social systems that help us confront the void in ourselves and in the world. And one of the manifestations of that is school shootings, right? And it would be nice to just talk about it abstractly in terms of it just happening in Florida again, 18 this year. The rest of the world is 18 combined in the past 20 years. 18 in a month and a half. But there's another one today in Northern Washington that actually some former Mount Hood Community College faculty were part of. On the way over here reading their Facebook updates about how they were locked down in their classroom waiting for the SWAT team to show up and get them out. Former librarians and instructors here. So I think this stuff, when you said earlier there's not a discussion of mathematics that doesn't relate back to real life. As much as I love to talk about religion and mythology and symbolism and ancient peoples and all this stuff, I love that quote because that's abundantly true. I think we live in a culture that hasn't confronted the void and hasn't been encouraged or taught how to, and because of that we're suffering a very huge social sickness. When these things happen, some political folks go mental illness and other political folks go gun control, and both of those things have merit. Neither of them confront the core issue, which is that we're unaccustomed to confronting the void in ourselves as a species. And I'll leave you with this quote from Werner Erhard: "One creates from nothing. If you try to create from something, you just change something. So in order to create something, we first have to be able to create nothing." We have to, as a people, be able to really understand that negative space. That's why these religions focus on creating the sacredness of nothingness around Yahweh, right? Because when people come together in that space, infinite creative possibilities for community, right? But we have to first be comfortable with the nothingness of the center. All right, that's it for me.
Thank you. All right, any questions for our speakers?
I just had a comment. I looked up, I was backward Googling like crazy, trying to figure out where that building was at. It doesn't exist currently, but it did exist temporarily. It was two houses that were slated for demolition in Houston that were turned into an art exhibition before demolition. So you can't go visit it now, but it was a real place at one time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So something that's bugging me about math is zero included in the set of natural numbers?
That's funny. I was talking about that in my Calc 3 class yesterday.
And then why or why not?
The first definition is no, zero is not included. And then when you take a set theory class, it is included. And I had the same discussion, same question with my set theory instructor, and we were like, derp. So maybe some of you guys can speak to that also, because I'm just as upset about it as you are.
Yeah.
So I didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, okay.
I was wondering about Kali, whether Kali's head being chopped off. What's the symbolism of the
Yes. Are you asking me? That's my understanding of it, is that one, that Kali represents the gods themselves returning to this maternal, mysterious, divine, dark matrix, right? But and so when she's chopping off Shiva's head, this is the gods themselves returning to this void. But then you, as the pilgrim, are still confronting. You're following the religion in order to practice. So in Buddhism, they say it this way: the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path are a boat that you take across a chasm, right, from where you are to enlightenment. But when you get to the other shore, you leave the boat or you burn the boat. You don't take it with you. And I see the Kali imagery as doing the same thing, that you follow this yogic path as a path of personal transformation to get you in touch through Shiva to your Brahman self, right? But that at the end of that path, once you've been reborn several times into in increasing sense of enlightenment. You have to be released from existence. In Hinduism, samadhi, right, the ultimate goal is non-existence, right, is to being released from this cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. And so to be released from that, you need a mechanism of release, and that releases the void to which everything emerged and to which everything will return. And my understanding is that Kali is the sort of manifestation of that, is the symbol that represents that. And so she first frees you from the following Brahma and Shiva, right? But then you have to confront her directly, right? And when she cuts her own head off, this is really more of her getting out of the way for you to step through her to what she represents, which is the void itself. She's removing herself as a symbol and allowing you direct communication or direct contact with that. That's how I understand it. By the way, these are complicated things, so feel free if you have a different understanding to try to go. Just like with the math books, I don't own the answers to these. These are good options.
Any other questions? All right, well, let's give it up for our speakers. And again, thank you for coming. And if you would like your name and email address put down, we can tell you about future talks. I'm going to leave this piece of paper right about over here. Right legibly or
Why did you? You're not going to take much probably in the whole seminar.
Yeah.
Where you get the data is at this point, no further problem. And I also realized it seems that way. I thought with beta 1, but I think beta 2 is actually 0, and I have to do beta 1. Right.